Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the massive extension that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have given to their massive defensive tackle, nose tackle, if you will, Vita Vea. And I'm not alone in this video today. Joining me from the Cannon Fire podcast, it is Evan. Evan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. This news sort of came out of left field, and it was a nice little surprise on Saturday night.
Absolutely. So, as we just said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have given Buccaneers nose tackle Vita Vea a gargantuan extension, Evan. It is a 4-year contract extension worth over $73 million. Ian Rappaport reported this. The deal was negotiated by Colin Roberts of Rep 1 Sports. And this means that Vita Vea is going to be staying in Tampa Bay for 4 more years. Now, Evan, first thing I want to say is this was the last year of his contract, correct?
So actually, he wasn't scheduled to be a free agent until the end of next season, the end of 2023, because his fifth-year option had been picked up by the Bucs. So technically, this was the last year of his 4-year rookie deal. But since he was a first-round pick, he had that fifth-year option. So technically, he would have been under contract without this extension either way for 2022.
Oh, okay. So he is still. So now it's 5 more years of Vita Vea.
Yes, yes.
Okay. At $18.25 million per year, once the new deal kicks in, at minimum. They said it was worth over, $73 million here. But, Evan, I'm going to toss it to you first. Talk about what this extension means for a guy like Vita Vea, what he has contributed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers already. Does he deserve an extension like this? I imagine this has got to be, this should make him one of the top paid defensive tackles in the entire league. So just kind of give your thoughts on this contract extension here.
Yeah, so obviously the key here is that, like I said about the fifth year option, that cap hit for his fifth year option is around $7.6 million. That's still his cap hit for next year. Just because he has signed this deal doesn't mean that his cap hit is now 18 or whatever it is. So that is still his cap hit for next year. That deal, this 4-year deal, kicks in after next year. So when we don't know the structure yet, we don't know if it's 18 point whatever it was every single season. We don't know if his cap hits like that. As we saw this past off season, you can manipulate the cap and put cap hits in a certain way. Obviously, it's a huge deal, like you said. There's 42 million guaranteed. Adam Schefter reported. So we'll have to see the exact structure of it, but in terms of where he ranks among other defensive linemen, he would be, I believe, in the top five. Obviously, like I said, though, this deal doesn't kick in until 2024. So while he's in the, or 2023. So while he's in the top five, would be in the top five. Currently, he's still not. He's definitely earned it, though. It's a guy who faced a lot of scrutiny when he was originally selected by the Bucs because a lot of fans preferred Derwin James, the local product out of FSU, over Vita Vea. And he's worked his tail off and he's become probably the best nose tackle in the game, and is a huge reason why the Bucs run defense continues to be dominant. Really hasn't developed as much pass rush, even though that's getting there, right? He's progressing in that area. So I think the Bucs are kind of hoping that they lock him up long term. Maybe in a year or two, he can develop a little bit more pass rush. He'll never be a double digit sack guy, but he can develop a little bit more to be able to give you 5, 6 sacks a year on a consistent basis. And then it would make this deal look very good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. I mean, I think Vita Vea has earned it. We know how massive this guy is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. I've talked about it before. Like, Vita Vea is not even possibly, I'd say he's a top 5 impactful player just on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster, period. Right? You think about guys like Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Levante David. Vita Vea is up there, as a top 5 most impactful guy for this Buccaneers defense. He is fantastic in run defense. Evan, me and you have seen games where a guy is running, a NFL caliber running back is running up the hole, and Vita Vea gets one arm on him, or Vita Vea just gets in front of him, and that man literally looks like he has ran into a brick wall. Like, that is not even a joke because we have seen that in person. That is the type of play that Vita Vea gives you, but more so just to what he does in regards to his run stopping ability, the opportunities that he gives for other players on this defense adds so much value and impact for what Vita Vea can do. Will Golston benefits. We've seen that multiple times. Ndamukong Suh benefits. We've seen that multiple times. Levante David, Devin White, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, any other edge rusher you want to name. All of these guys benefit when Vita Vea is out there on the field, because Vita Vea is taking up double teams, maybe even triple teams in some certain situations, just because of how massive this guy is at clogging holes and causing disruptions. So it creates one-on-one opportunities for other guys, which is absolutely huge and critical for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And it really is just a phenomenal thing that Vita Vea is able to do in regards to that. We do have a little bit more information here from Pewter Report. That this deal does make Vita Vea the 5th highest paid defensive tackle in the league right now. The 4 guys that are ahead of him, Aaron Donald, Leonard Williams, DeForest Buckner, and Chris Jones. So, he's in great company, I think. 3 out of those 4 guys are, the top defensive tackles in the league. Leonard Williams, you can make an argument that he's obviously up there as well. So again, he is in really good company. The contract will take him through until he is 33 years old, which I think is going to be awesome. It seems like he'll be almost retiring a Buck if they do decide to keep him for that long. $42 million guaranteed, by the way. Pewter Report speculates here that they, could potentially get out of the deal in the last 1 to 2 years if they need to. But in my opinion, Vita Vea is one of those guys, like me and you have compared, Evan, like a Haloti Ngata type guy where, hey, he's going to be a big body his entire career, so just keep him. You know what I mean? Like, that's something you can't teach. So, all in all, I think that this is a fantastic deal here. Kind of talk about the impact Vita Vea gives here for the defense.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you talk about not just the run defense, but you talked about the pass rush, and there was a noticeable difference in the Bucs pass rush when Vita Vea left, right? When he got injured in Chicago last season, and then when he returned, there was a noticeable difference. I know there was only 2 games, right? He played in the NFC Championship game and then the Super Bowl, but there was a noticeable difference in that pass rush when he played. So it just he impacts things by being a space eater, essentially, right? He takes up so much space because of his size that allows guys to have favorable matchups, because you might have to double team him. Odds are your guard or center is not as strong as Vita Vea is, and you need to be able to double team him at times, and that can lead for some matchups for a lot of guys. Like you brought up, I'm thinking about how Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul really played well in that championship game last year, when I was really criticizing them leading up to the NFC Championship game because I felt like they weren't doing enough on the pass rushing side. Vita Vea comes in and he makes an immediate impact. So as long as he's able to stay healthy and continue to do that, I think this deal should be fine. It takes him to he's 33, like you said about Pewter Report, possibly speculating that, hey, it's either in his, maybe in the last 1 or 2 years of the deal, maybe the Bucs can get out of it. It just, we'll have to wait and see how the contract is structured. That should be out within the next probably few days or so. But yeah, overall, it's a fair deal for both sides. The Bucs are doing it right by Vita Vea to take care of him this early. They didn't have to sign him to anything right now. He is not scheduled to be a free agent. So it's nice, and it's a nice little reassurance for Vea that, they believe in him, and, Vea to be loyal to the Bucs and to show that he wants to be there is definitely a big step.
Now, I do want to talk about the injuries, the injury concerns, because that's where some of the still Vita Vea doubters who are still around, there's not many left, but the ones who are still around, that's kind of one thing that they point to is Vita Vea can't stay healthy, and I'm looking at the numbers now. He's only had 1 season where he's been able to play a full slate of games. Obviously last year he only played in 5 games. This year he's going to end up missing 2 games, which isn't a lot. But, obviously for, this season, but, should the Bucs and should Bucs fans be worried about long-term injury history concerns, or do you feel that that's something that'll kind of balance itself out and kind of take care of itself over time?
As long as he avoids the major ones, like the major injuries, as long as he's able to avoid those, like the one he had in Chicago, I think he should be okay. He had a little bit of trouble his rookie season. Actually, he was injured in a lot of training camp, but was able to play. A lot of it's nagging stuff. A lot of it's not a ton of long term stuff besides the injury in Chicago. And I think as long as he avoids those, when he's 32, 33, maybe you can see his body start to break down a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna be that dramatic. And I think for most of this deal, right, he should be fine.
I gotcha. So, Evan, at the end of the day, I'm going to give my thoughts on this. I love this move. I think it's a fantastic move. Buccaneers got an important piece of business done here early, which I think is great. I think it's a fantastic re-signing by Jason Light here. One of his best draft picks ever as GM of the Bucs. He sealed the deal on this one and got the extension done. What are your final thoughts here? Do you like the move? And kind of give your final thoughts on it.
Yeah, I do like this move for both sides. I think it's fair. It's a fair value for Vita. Some people may look and think it's a lot of money, but you don't really consider how valuable Vita VEA is to this defense. And losing a guy like that would be pretty tough to replace. There's not a lot of guys that can move like him with the size that he has around the league. Like they're not just sitting there in every draft. So it was a good move for Villa and a really good move for the Bucs to be able to lock him up. And like I said, that they have a busy offseason with a lot of free agents that we've talked about. And it's nice that they can. I know he wasn't a free agent, but they can cross this one off of their mind and don't really have to think about this one for a while now.
Absolutely. So, guys, let us know your thoughts and opinions about this massive Vita VEA extension down in the comments section below. As always, we would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Go subscribe to Evan's YouTube channel, the Cannon Fire Podcast. Go check them out. They do fantastic content over there. They actually just did a game preview for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 18 matchup versus the Carolina Panthers. So go check that out and see their thoughts, opinions, and their score predictions for that Buccaneers matchup. Evan, I thank you again for being on. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys all enjoyed. And we will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now. And go Bucs.